Welcome, everyone, to Talladega Superspeedway. The Winstel Cup Series comes to Talladega with 3 races to go in the season in 21 days. A championship will be crowned and the season will be over. Talladega is one of the last stops on the tour for Winstel in its 2007 campaign. Everyone looking forward to this race. 40 cars ready to go here around this 2.6-mile Superspeedway. It's all in the name here at Talladega in Alabama. Everyone trying to go for either a championship or a spoiler win. You know the deal. Championship rounds are here on ABM. It has been absolutely wild so far in this campaign. Let's take a double check and see if it works here. We want to see if we can grab some points. There we go. Points are in effect. Michael Guest and Jacob Potak tied at the top. Michael Guest 2 wins in the first 3 rounds of the chase. Can he pull away from the defending champion Jacob Potak here in Talladega? Or does a new name enter the fray before we head to Phoenix and Atlanta to close out the season? Emily Howe, 20 points away, still in touching distance. The Speedways are her playground. Can she grab a second win here in Talladega? Christian Budd, Dylan Roberts, your top 5. Colin Keast, your top half of the chase. Ahead of Jose Solis Jr., he's had a good recovery. Kenny Triviano, Josh Chin, Gabriel Mauricio, Lucas Davila, and Sean Pellig, your top 12. A rough start in the first half of the chase for the 48 and the 19. They've got some work to do tonight here if they're going to turn things around in this group. Best of the rest is going to be where you find Brendan McGee and Christina Ryan. And that those numbers don't look quite accurate there. I believe that is the distance from the championship leader, Michael Guest, Jacob Potak, but it reads backwards there. Brendan McGee currently best at 1 point over Christina Ryan. Christina Ryan not present for this race at Talladega, as was mentioned when she won at Kansas. Will be taking time away to take care of a medical procedure. We wish her the best in getting that taken care of there. Evan Locke, Brandon McKissick, top 16. Kirk Marble, Tyler Head, Parker Alexander, Andrew Ferrinaires, Nick Doucette, Alex Bates, Tom Millette, and Ryan Hill, your top 24 in the points right now. Everyone also worried about being top 35 in the point standings. Ryan Moyer, Blake Cannon, Philip Snipes, Tyler Murray, Brandon Coppinger, and Larry Pace, your top 30. Mike Rasmus, Chris Champeau, GF Yinich, Jordan Barabee, and Thomas Lewandowski enter as your top 35 in points. Lawton Slager, first one out in 36. 3 races to get back in the top 35 if you're not already in it. For Lawton Slager, for Brandon Cruz, Kyle Benson, James Grantham, and Ryan Daly, and others, that is their top objective now over these next 3 races. Lucas Strayer, Logan Kress, Evan Melanson. In your top 43, Corey Steinhauser, Ryan Andrew, Tom Wetmore, and Corey Cook, your top 47. Zach Tyndall is 48th in points. A lot of part-timers in this part of the standings as things run. That being said, we have gotten through the practice portion of this broadcast. Qualifying is now underway. Everyone's got 1 lap to run here in Talladega, and it's going to be a former Winstel 400 winner, Christian Budd, the first one out on the racetrack. Looking for the Bud Pole Award here in Talladega. One lap to make things happen. Very similar to HTO rules for those that are watching from Monday nights as well. Very similar rule set for qualifying. I think the big difference between HTL and Winstel is that in HTL and qualifying, you can go below the double yellow line as it is qualifying. You cannot do so in Winstel. And in the race, the yellow line is out of bounds in both series. Remember that, because conversation will come up here in a couple weeks when HTL heads back to Daytona. Christian Butt will be the first one across start-finish line to set a lap time. Him and Tom Mollett will be the first two to set times on the board. And the times will be a flurry. Christian Butt across start-finish line. Immediately gets pipped by Tom Mollett. Kotak in the throwback number 24. Where does he go on the timing screen? Michael Guest. Also on a qualifying lap here. Let's see what he's got. It'll be Kotak across the line first. And Potak goes top of the board. How about Michael Guest in that 46 City throwback? Days of Thunder. Good inspiration for this race for Michael Guest if he doesn't get pole position. Times are coming in a flurry. Michael Guest across start finish line in that 46. Where does he go? Nowhere. Invalid lap time. That's going to set Michael Guest back to the back of the pack. 29 set lap time so far. Philip Snipes on his qualifying run in that Blue Deuce. Philip Snipes across the line in the 19th position. Tom Wetmore putting qualifying lap. 24th. Corey Steinhauser, in typical fashion, will not complete qualifying here. He is just now starting a lap. No one going home, so no danger. It's time now for the main event of the weekend. We are so glad that you are with us. Before we get started, a huge shout out to our subscribers over on patreon.com/Avian Studios. They helped us keep the lights on this week during the severe storm that took us offline for several days. Trans Logan Domain 2935, Eli Sassick, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, J. Paul, Jake Potak, and June. Thank you all for your support over the last several months. Most of you have been here with us for half the year already. So huge shout out to each and every single one of you for helping us keep the lights on. Those that subscribe via ABM Plus tier on Patreon also feature at the bottom of the screen and the little ticker at the bottom of the window there. If you want your name shouted out or included in our broadcast every week, the QR code can help you get started. It's also in the description down below if you're watching this live on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. A huge shout out to everyone that supports us over on Patreon. It's time to look over the starting lineup for the UAW United Auto Workers Ford 500 here in Talladega. Top of the board, it is your defending champion, Jacob Potak, at the front. Sitting in the front spot alongside him, Logan Kress, a very familiar name for those in the iRacing sphere. Brennan McGee, Anthony Kroback in row 2. Kroback's first qualifying effort of his Winstel career. Sean Pellick, we talked about him, 12th in points. Needed a lot of help. He's got it. Starts top 6 alongside Dylan Roberts. Those in the chase, highlighted in yellow. Nick Dusek, Kirk Marble in row 4. Larry Pace, Austin Reedy, top 10 here in qualifying. Kyle Benson, Tom Millette, row 6 alongside Christian Michael Guest, who make up row number 7. Craig Lautenslager, Ryan Hill, row 8. Row 9, Brandon Coppinger and Andy Trupiano. Row 10, your top 20, rounded out by Philip Snipes and Corey Cook in that 25. Tyler Murray and Ryan Moyer in row 11. Then it's Lucas Davila and Tom Wetmore in row 12. Gabriel Mauricio and Blake Cannon in row 13. Emily Howell, Lucas Strayer, row 14. Not a great qualifying effort for the 55. She'll have to work forward in the field tonight. Brandon Cruz, Eli Sassick in row number 15. Eli Sassick's first race at Talladega in Winstel here tonight. Christian Poe, Dan Breckus in row 16. Row 17, Evan Melanson and Jose Solis Jr. Row 18, Parker Alexander and Zach Tyndall. Corey Steinhauser and Ken Huff will make up row 19. Row 20 is a single-man row with Hayden Rapaw in that row, all his lonesome. Go look at how some of the cars look here tonight. Bottom of your screen. Long formation lap here. Not in the tri-oval. It's after pit exit. Some unique looking cars. Using the Rally Series machines. The National Series cars, as we like to call them. That being said, it is time to bring the action here in Talladega. The green flag flies, and the UAW-Ford 500 is underway. Opening lap in the books. Everyone getting comfortable already. leads the way. We're right on board with Jacob Potak. Started this race on pole position, currently in the inside lane. 4 poles, 4 wins, 10 top 10s. Helps him be in that championship conversation. You see us refreshing because we know that Brendan McGee has a different paint going on. There you go. There's the number 9 as it's supposed to be. He was in the 94, which you see so often in the Winstel 400, but not in the Winstel Cup Series itself. McGee out in front. Outside lane has led the opening couple laps here. Logan Crest in that 37 in the mix. In the outside lane, making some moves happen early on. So McGee out in front. Logan Crest, Jacob Potak, Anthony Krobach, all in that outside lane. Look at Sean Pelleg, 48. Hendrick teammates lined up now on the bottom. Also Nick Doucette in line there. Potak leads lap 5. His teammate in tow behind him there. All 400 motorsport cars in this field. Corey Cook, the 25, and a Jerry Nadeau throwback. Sitting further back in the running order on the outside lane. Mauricio on the inside lane. He's in an all-black number 5 here tonight. McGee trying to grab that race lead back with support from Logan Crest. And does so. You're a 10th of the way through this race already. We talk about situations HTL looking at this race right now. The National Series car, a possibility for the Cup Series in HTL next season. For some in HTL, this is their first look at that National Series car on Superspeedway. Outside lane has splintered into a couple different lines here. The 09 of Marble and 96 of Austin Reedy now thrown into the middle. The Lion's Den, the Sucker Hole, a lot of different names for that middle groove, no man's land, I think is also pretty equitable there. Kirk Marble avoids staying down there too awful long. Same cannot be said for Ryan Hill, Austin Reedy, or for the 31 of Tom Wetmore. We are well and truly in the thick of it right now in that middle groove. McGee leaves the outside lane, but it is Potak that led out of turn 2, led that last lap. Ahead of the 9 of McGee, who still has support from Logan Kress and Anthony Kroback. Here comes the 1. The 1 in that mix. Larry Pace, you also see in that 1. Nick just in the 15. Teammates there side by side. Dylan Roberts in the 8. All 3 DEI cars in the top 10. Not often we see Larry Pace outside of an older car. This is one of those exceptions for Larry Pace, and he is right now in the lead line behind Kress, behind McGee. Kress wants the race lead now. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack. McGee has no help. And he will get dispatched from the front of the field altogether. Logan Kress out in front. For just the second time this season, Logan Kress will lead a lap in the Winstel Cup Series. And he will lead lap 10. Larry Pace slices to the bottom of the racetrack. Gets in front of Potak. Kress gets out first in the form of Austin Reedy. But the momentum belongs to the 1, Larry Pace. 3 wide, 7 rows. Behind the top 7 cars. Let's call it that. One car well and truly off the pace. Took a pit lane start, Chris Champeau. And is likely going a lap down here before we get to lap 16. But there he is on his own little island at the moment. The other 38 all in line here. You got this main lead group, and then you have the secondary line, which is single file further back. Emily Howell technically leading that line of 8 cars in 31st. Side by side, Pace and Kress. Front of the field, Potak and Reedy, row 2. And then it gets a little bit messier behind Sean Pelly, the 48, sitting in the top 5. Coming around to complete lap 12 and start lap 13. Logan Kress led that lap. Reedy, both in support right now. Just doing what you got to do. Larry Pace, you saw him leave about half a lane on the bottom of the racetrack, letting Potak breathe that engine down the back straightaway. What that did is it also allowed that outer lane to get the advantage. Both Reedy and Kress got clear and moved to the bottom of the racetrack. Now, leading that middle lane is the 31 of Tom Wetmore, ahead of Ryan Hill in the 7. That's Speed Energy Drink, number 7. One thing you'll notice that's different compared to what we saw last season in that Gen 4. In the Gen 4, if you were at the back of the field, you kind of were just stuck. You were without a paddle. And inevitably, if you were in this line of cars with Brandon Cruz, with Evan Melanson, and Parker Alexander, you would be thrown out of the draft. But here, you got 38 cars, all of them in the draft right now, right where they want to be. Crest leading lap 15 ahead of Larry Pace, Jake Protak, and Sean Pellig, your top four, as they approach Chris Champeau, the 22, to put him a lap down here on this 16th lap of racing. Whoa, trouble. Car in the fence. Trouble further back. Huge crash. Steinhauser goes for a spin. And it looked like it was Dan Breckus that got turned. He does have damage on that number 40. And caution for the first time tonight will reset things a little bit here. And that was building for a hot second. And this is your look. And yes, it was up in the outside lane. We'll have to back it up just a second because it builds up here in turn one. And that was Brex ahead of Solus, the 29. And we'll see who they were behind here in just a second. They're behind Kirk Marble. A little bit of offset there. That is Crow back to 18. Robertson the 8. Pretty heavy push there. Sends Marble into the fence. And Breckus and everything afterwards is just the aftermath of that. A really close call there for Corey Cook. Solus tries to back out of the way. He gets hit by the 16. That's Tom Wetmore. The 31's Ryan Moyer. I don't know why I was saying Tom Wetmore. Ryan Moyer's 31. But you see that Solus still gets a huge piece of that. And everyone trying to scramble afterwards. That's where you see Steinhauser and Parker Alexander get turned. Just about everyone coming down pit lane this go around. And we'll look at it from the spotter stand here. As you look at Steinhauser's part of the accident here. Everyone checks up just a little bit. Everyone except for, I guess, the 66. The 58 is the one that taps the 44. Or the 77 Steinhauser, who gets into the 44 of Alexander. The 58 beating Hayden Rapop. So Brandon Cruz stays out here and will lead a lap in Talladega. You look at your top 5. Top 2 stayed out. Hayden Rapop was hoping to lead a lap. Brandon Cruz instead gets to do so. And they will come down pit lane at the end of this lap and move to the back of the field to reset and give it all a shot. And it'll be the 48 of Sean Pellick at the front of the field. A winner at Talladega. 2 seasons, last season, I believe. While we're sitting here under caution, huge shout out to our friends over at Advanced, our official drink supplement of ABM. New flavors coming out every month. Sports Shakers in time for the football season. We got ours being Southern Ohio. How did it go, Cincinnati? We helped us out a ton with recovery from cancer treatments here this year. They can help us. They can help you out as well. Focus, energy, sleep, hydration, everything in between. Visit advance.gg and use Avian Studios on your order. Save 10%. They've helped us, and they're hopping on board and helping us even more by being a partner with us here on ABN. So give them a shout. Pelican Crest, front of the field for this restart. Single file rules, typical Winstel rule set there. Lap cars would go to the inside lane on the restart. One car out, Dan Breckus. Chris Champeau got his lap back pretty quickly. And so 38 cars join us. Jose Solis Jr., tail of the field. Still a pretty torn up race car in that 29. We'll see how he gets along. Very similar to Richmond. His race started off tough and it never got better to kick off the chase. Front end doesn't look great either for the 29, so we'll see how that fares. Get ready to start lap 20. You're in Talladega. First lap back under green. 48 Camp holds on to it. Trying to play both lanes here. Goes to the inside lane. Does not go with his teammate. And Potak now has unrestricted access to the front of the field thanks to him. And Nick Doucette, the 15. McGee back up into the top 5. That nine car back in the mix. And Jose is in trouble. He has already lost 5 seconds on the field. So he is in significant danger in this race. Three wide in the middle is being led by Corey Cook at 25. Austin Reed jumps to the bottom. So does Dylan Roberts. And Corey Cook has no help. Just trying to join his teammates at the front of the field. And now he will slide backwards. Nick Doucette wants the race lead for himself. He gets out. Jacob Potak out of the way. Peleg lead that lap. So the 48 Camp, Sean out in front. barely. But now it is Doucette and McGee leading that middle line ahead of Kirk Marble. And then Wetmore in the 16 is in range. Nick Doucette leads this lap. New race leader. The 15 out in front. Emily Howe, the 55 now in the mix, out in front in the top 10 now. And she's going to go outside lane. No one goes with immediately. McGee wants to cover it off because he knows what that 55 is capable of. They've worked together on so many plate races. You can make your head spin. Emily goes middle of the racetrack, though. Slots inside. Looking for the race lead now. Heat-seeking missile to the front of the field. Goes the 55. She gets behind the 15 of Doucette. Doucette trying to block both the outer and middle lanes here. Doesn't want to cover all three lanes of racetrack. Gets in front of Potak. Emily Howe leads the middle, and there you go. Good chance there. Howe's got help from Marble and Wetmore. Pellick has help from the 37 of Cress and the 1 of Pace. Doucette has help from Potak and McGee. Doucette trying to play both lanes again. Nick Doucette now leads the middle lane. Emily Howe goes topside ahead of Potak. Pellick leads that lap too, kicking off lap 26. Everyone jockeying for position, moving around the racetrack, finding different lanes to be in here. Two by two, 3 rows deep. Emily Howe trying to lead for the first time tonight. Potak behind her. Who's it going to be at the line? It will be Howe. Here comes McGee in that number 9. Becoming a problem once again. Emily Howe does not immediately cover off McGee on that outer groove. Has to think about it at a turn 2. And does at a turn 2. Ryan Moyer now behind the 24 of Jake Potak. And then the 2 of Philip Snipes in the middle. The inside lane had a really good run that go around down the back straightaway. The 48 of Sean Pellick is clear. At least was for a moment. To do whatever he wanted to do as far as making a lane choice decision. He decided to stay with Logan Cress. Not a bad move. About 27 in the books. And the middle and the outer lanes have fallen apart, fighting amongst themselves and stealing their own momentum. Has given the inside ultimate leeway in controlling this race. A little bit of a bobble there. That was Anthony Kroback, who I think was trying to drop back and get out of the way. At least that's what the indication seemed to be mid-corner, not comfy in that 18 car all of a sudden. And he does drop back behind the 25 of Corey Cook. Logan Cress takes a peek to the middle lane. Logan Crest wants to go for the race lead once again. Wondered who would be complacent at this point of the race. Opportunity knocks, you answer the door. And that's what Logan Crest just did. Took the momentum of Emily Howe and swooped right into the front of the field. So it's Crest, Howe, and McGee, your top three now. Hendrick teammates, Potak and Peleg round out your top five at the moment. Brendan McGee determined to make that outer lane work. Gets ditched again by Crest and Howe. And now he's got to lean on Potak for support. Not even that, Potak got ahead of him. He's leading on Kirk Marble. Potak goes topside, now he's in front. We'll see if they can close in right now, but the top two have clearance. We see Solis in the grass on the infield, staying out of the way, officially one lap down. He is the only car a lap down, so if a caution comes out right now, he gets that lap right back. Brandon Coppinger lost the draft here in that 45, so he could lose a lap here in quick order. The other 36 are together in one cohesive line. We have crossed the halfway point here in Talladega. And we are glad you're with us for Winstel on ABN. Logan Crest leads the second race he has led all season here in Winstel, ahead of a former Winstel 400 champion, a former winner here at Talladega in Emily Howe, the defending winner. Right behind her, Sean Peleg in that 48, that Lowe's Chevrolet, sitting third in line, ahead of Nick Doucette and Jake Potak, the defending Winstel Cup Series champion. We have not said much about Michael Guest, who tied after his win at Michigan a week ago. Michael Guest has been sort of nowhere. 24th for the 46 right now. He's behind the 41, Lucas Strayer. Having himself a quiet day. Started this race in the 14th spot, went up to 11th early on, and has now dropped back to 24th in this single file line. Everyone biding their time outside your top 15, top 16. Three wins, two in the last three races, Richmond and Michigan, to put himself right in that title conversation. This is an important race, though, to keep things on the right level. Everyone being a little bit more cautious, a little bit more timid right now in this further half of the field. I guess for the 24th, though, hoping to stay quiet until later on in this race. We'll see how that plays out. Jacob Potak making a charge forward in that 24 outer lane. Support from McGee and Kirk Marble. The 9 and the 09. Going to help Potak get back to the front of the field. The pole sitter leads again. Lap 33 belongs to Potak. Crest down to fourth in one lap. Reminder for just now jumping in, those marked in yellow on the ticker at the top of your screen are in the chase. They are battling for a championship. There's 12 of them. Everyone else looking to play spoiler. Logan Crest leads the inside lane, that 37 car. The outside lane belongs to Jacob Potak at the moment in the 24, that Rainbow Warrior machine. Shades in 1999 on the 24 camp here. Logan Crest goes topside, leads Emily Howe to the bottom of the racetrack to her own devices. Potak says he does not want to help the 37. And the 37, thankfully, had the ability to jump back in front of Emily Howe. Logan Crest quickly realized that he was not getting any voluntary help from anybody on that outer line. Potak did lead that lap, though. .25 to go here in Talladega. One caution, a multi-car crash triggered by Kirk Marble and Dan Breckus that really mostly affected Jose Solis Jr., who was hoping for a caution to get back on the lead lap here. Actually, never mind. His race is done. He's out of the race. He has parked it at the halfway point. So we have 37 cars. Brandon Coppinger next to go a lap down. In a few laps' time, the other 36 are all together here. No one really cares about fastest laps at the moment, but it belongs in the hands of Lucas Davila, who just set the fastest lap. A 48.64 for the 19. He's in 26 at the moment. 27 now, so a lot of draft help for the 19 to get that fastest lap. If we do get another fastest lap, it'll be from back in the field with a lot of draft help. Potak out in front, leading the outside lane. Logan Crest still leading the inside lane. Outside lane has the advantage as Potak leads lap 37. 23 to go. Three wide further back, being led by Larry Pace and Michael Guest. Keep an eye on him. Larry Pace, Michael Guest, Kyle Benson, Austin Reedy. That four-car group on the outer lane picks up Nick Doucette into 15. Potak slots in front of the 37 at Crest. Outside lane beginning to build as they want to go to the front of the field again. Michael Guest, this is what he's got to do right now. Otherwise, he sits outside the top 20. Find yourself your own net positive here. He started 14th in this race and fell backwards rapidly. Top two have the advantage. They are clear. They can go wherever they want to go. Emily Howe almost clear of the 9 of Brennan McGee. Not quite. Coming to 21 laps to go. Here goes Logan Crest, outer groove, ahead of McGee for the race lead. He's got it. Logan Crest back out in front. Ton of lead changes, not a ton of leaders in this race. Everyone trying to cover off the outer groove now. Ryan Moyer, the 31, that singular wireless machine, trying to keep Nick Doucette at bay. Everyone now aware that outer groove, that third line, is on the move. Nick Doucette leading Larry Pace and Michael Guest. 20 to go. 4 on 4 at the front of the field. 3 wide, further back. Pit stops are still to come. There's still green flag pit stops to make. If we go the rest of the race to green, there's still pit stops to make in this race. Not as straightforward as it would seem for the Winstel Cup Series field, and they know that. Do we get there? A little bit of a bad bump there. Philip Snipes a little bit sideways out of 4. I believe, if I look correctly, that was off the nose of Dylan Roberts. The beer war between Miller Lite and Budweiser. Thankfully, they both keep it going in the right direction without much effect there. Kept things going pretty well. Commentator will go a lap down in 2 laps here. And he will be the first car and only car a lap down. 2 cars out, Dan Breckus and Jose Solis Jr. out from the same accident. Solis just out a lot later. Residual damage from the 29. His race is over. 36 still running. Sorry, 37 still running. 36 on the lead lap once Commentator goes a lap down. Commentator in the 45 will go that lap down. Crest led that lap. Emily Howe now leads through turns 1 and 2. Outer groove, McGee about in tow. Howe, McGee, Marble, outer groove ahead of Ryan Moyer. Logan Crest now having to rely once again on Potak, Peleg, and the 16 of Wetmore. And then you find the 88. Bill Jarrett, throwback. That's Blake Cannon. Brandon Coppinger staying bottom of the racetrack, forcing everyone to go around him in this circumstance, in this situation. So everyone shuffles to the outer grooves for just a moment, and this will stack things up a little bit. So Emily Howe with the advantage over McGee, Marble, and Moyer. Logan Crest now out of the top 5 temporarily. We'll see if he can charge back in with support from the Hendrick Motorsport teammates that are right there behind him. Coming to 16 laps to go. Everyone may pit stops on lap 17. You cannot go the full distance on fuel. Not in Winstel. Running around the racetrack for 16 to go. 37 cars, 36 lead lap. And Logan Crest trying to make some inroads there on that inside lane. Emily Howe leads and has a buffer. And they're going to think about cutting off that inside lane. They do. Smart move. You've got 3 cars with you there. You've got Howe, you got McGee, and you have Kirk Marble. That's an insurance policy. Working groups. Big difference between Winstel and HTL. In HTL, it's a lot of teamwork between teams, bona fide teams. Here, it's a bit more of a loose alliance. The Hendrick Motorsport teammates, for example, Potak and Peleg, they'll help each other right now because they know they're good. Their gloves are off in the last 5 laps of this race, but they'll help each other right now. In HTL, look, you've seen a couple weeks for the Firecracker 400 to end out the month of August. It's very much a team dynamic. You'll see teams like Arrowhead Racing, like Tombstone Motorsports, like Ascent Racing, very much keep to themselves on how they operate. You don't see that tonight, and so you've had a lot of different tandem dynamics in place. Outer groove being led by Ryan Moyer has lost steam with the loss of Marble, McGee, and Howe that lead the way. Now on the inside lane, Logan Crest in 4th. Buried backwards, and now they're in a position where you don't want to be on the outer line. You want to stay on the inside lane because that is your easiest shot to pit lane. You don't want to cross traffic to come down pit lane. And people are thinking about that now. Less than 15 to go, coming to 13 to go. People are thinking about that now. Top 5, top 6, single file out of turn 2. From Hal down to Peleg. Pozak, your pole sitter in the 24. Ryan Moyer, side by side with the 48. Emily Howe still leads the way. 12 to go here in Talladega. Gone for right now is the 3-wide situation. We are now 2 by 2. 11 rows. Corey Cook goes inside lane. And so posturing has begun to get ready for pit stops here in quick order. And it will be a very busy place to be. Michael Guest goes inside lane in the 46. And here comes pit stops. Leaders are coming down pit lane in this go around. And this is a huge smorgasbord of cars. A lot of lockups here. Do not speed down pit lane. Keep it 60 or lower. Who got penalized? Did anybody get penalized? No penalties. Everyone down pit lane cleanly with no penalties for unsafe entries or for speeding. Great stuff there. Ryan Moyer leads in that outer groove. Now the inside lane all on their own. Moyer, Melanson, Benson, your top 3. Christian Budd, we've not said his name much today, in 4th. Mauricio in 5th. Pace in 6th. Strayer, Alexander, Reedy, and Champeau, your top 10. And they come down pit lane this time. Smaller group, easier to work with. Don't speed, don't speed, don't speed. Get down to 60 miles an hour and keep it straightforward. Someone spun or locked up the brakes heavily, it looks like. Well, looks like Hayden Rapal, the 58, was the one that locked up heavily. But he does make it to pit speed. Ken Huff, Corey Steinhauser on their own. Will inherit the race lead. Ken Huff leads in that 14, that Sterling Marlin throwback from 2000. Corey Steinhauser in the 77. Fuel only, and you see the field working back out. No tires on that green flag pit stop. 10 to go. The leaders have to come down pit lane here momentarily. They stay out again. Staying out as long as possible. They're hoping for a yellow. Is what they're hoping for. And they're going to get it. They're going to get it. Come on, and McGee in trouble. Caution's out for the second time. And a lot of damage on the 17. Ken Huff and Corey Steinhauser got their wish. They come down pit lane as race leaders. Obviously, they're not down pit lane yet, but they will rejoin the pack. They were going to lose the pack altogether and be in danger of going a lap down. Now they are secure. And they'll have fresh tires. Caution out for just the second time here with less than 10 to go. And this is what happened. Christian Budd, bottom of the racetrack. There's the 17. Look at the 9 of McGee. He's going to get a bad bump here. Emily Howe shifts to the middle of the racetrack. Michael Guest just gives a bit of a tag on that left rear quarter panel and clobbers the 17. And this is where it's going to get very unfortunate. Back in real speed. Backs it right into the fence there. McGee gets away pretty lucky in that circumstance. Not so much Christian Butt. Running on board with Christian Butt here. And he's going to get a pretty big shock. On board with Michael Guest here. That looked like Brendan McGee got loose on his own. Let's play that back for a second. Let's go. Let's see if we can go high above. Let's go copper. Let's go chopper cam. Does he get loose on his own? Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like he gets floaty on his own on the exit of 4. Michael Guest just finishes the job. I don't think he started that. It's very close margins. What a moment. And so pit stop's underway. Steinhauser stays out an extra lap here. Looks like he was trying to lead a lap and grab 5 bonus points, which is fair. He's outside the top 35 in points. So he will grab those 5 bonus points and come down pit lane this time and be at the back of the field. Brandon Coventer did get the free pass on that, so he is back on the lead lap. And we'll have 37 on the lead lap. 2 cars out. Jose Solis Jr. after lap 29. Dan Breckes after 15 laps in this competition. So Steinhauser will come down pit lane this go around. For everyone tuning in, we appreciate you being with us here for Winstel on ABN. 3 to go in the season. It will be 2 to go after tonight, Phoenix and Atlanta. Very quiet pit lane as we're ready to go back racing here. Top 5 on your screen. Emily Howe, Brendan McGee, Michael Guest, Kirk Marble, and Kyle Benson, your top 5 for this restart. It'll be fun to see how they shake things up here. Sean Pellig, Evan Melanson, Ryan Moyer, Chris Champeau, Gabriel Mauricio, your top 10. Approaching this restart with 5 laps to go. Andy Trupiano in 11th, Jacob Potak in 12th, Craig Wattenslager 13th, Lucas Strayer and Brandon Cruz right out your top 15 here. Top 20 is filled up by Logan Kress, Nick Doucette, Lucas Davila, Eli Sasick, and Corey Cook. Austin Reedy, Parker Alexander, Tom Willett, Tyler Murray, and Tom Wetmore. Your top 25. Ken Huff, 26th. Blake Cannon, 27th. Anthony Krovac, 28th. Zach Tyndall, 29th. Larry Payson, 30th. A lot of work to do in 5 laps time. Ryan Hill, Hayden Rapa, Philip Snipes, Corey Steinhauser, Brandon Coppinger, your top 35. Christian Budd and Dylan Roberts, your top 37, all on the racetrack. Jose Solis Jr. and Dan Breckus out of the race. Field of 39 here in Talladega. It is Emily Howe out in front as we get ready to go back racing here in Talladega with 5 laps to go. My, how the tables have turned. Jacob Potak out of the top 10. Michael Guest in third. How do things shake up here in these last 5 laps? The gloves are off. The green flag's out. We're back underway here in Talladega. No help, Kirk Marble. Tried to make a move to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Everyone stayed topside. He is on his own. He is well and truly out of the way. Further back in the order, Mauricio gets around the 09 Marble with a little bit of support from Potak. Logan Cresco's bottom of the racetrack now. Whoa, trouble! That was close! And they were teammates, Mauricio and Potak. Potak gets thrown further backwards. Emily Howe defending that outer lane. And the answer is very simple as to why. Those that go to the inside lane are very vulnerable to being side drafted. The right sides of these cars, very aero sensitive. How do you protect it? By not letting anyone get there. That's what Emily Howe has done. Brendan McGee's got to think smart about this. He's got to make sure that he's got a numbers game behind him to get around the 55. Emily Howe's seen some stuff too. A game of chess at 200 miles an hour. They are 3 wide further back, coming to 3 laps to go. It is single file, though, in your top 10. As everyone thinks about the moves that they want to make here with 3 to go. You don't want to sit on the pot too awful long. You got to get moving at some point. When is that going to be? Kirk Marble with a little bit of help now. A little bit of a bad bump there. I believe that was Lautenslager. It was. Lautenslager goes down below the yellow line, gets out of the way. These bumps are getting nasty. And there they go. Trouble. 1 no return coming up. Alexander and Kromack involved. Christian Budd, you see the back of the car torn off. Lost the draft pretty quickly there. And Park Alexander's day done on the spot. Dylan Roberts will get the free pass. Spent some time on pit lane for repairs. Gets the free pass in time for the point of no return. We'll talk about that in a second. Phillips nice down pit lane. With damage, you can see that car sort of seesawing back and forth. Damage on the left front. And that looks like it might be pretty much day done and dusted for Phillips Snipes. We're on board with him. And this is how it happens. Ooh. And Park Alexander, I believe we called that the good old Alt F4 for the 44 camp. Let's take a look here. We're going to have to back it up here because the replay gets it right as it starts. I wondered how bad these bumps are going to be further back. Jacob Potak, by the way, this is how far back he got shuffled out. Potak did 25th. Eli Sasek in the 71. Potak trying to make it 4 wide. And unfortunately, everyone's stacking up as well. Potak just trying to make it 4 wide. And there's not space to do that. Turns the 18 to the 44. Kyle Benson gets turned. Sassett gets lucky. Cruz gets out of the way. Larry Pace out of the way. Philip Snipes not so lucky. Krovac's back tire is lifted off the ground, but thankfully the roof flaps deployed and keep that car on the ground. Biggest impacts, though, the 2 and the 44 in that event. Point of no return, what does it mean here in the Winstel Cup Series? It is very straightforward. We have one overtime attempt. We are now officially in overdrive. Two laps to set things in order. It is a green flag run to the finish. There are no cautions thrown during this point of no return. Any incidents caused during the last 2 laps reviewed post-race. Penalties applied as need be for the following race, which in this case would be in Phoenix. So again, only one attempt at finishing this race under green in overtime. It will finish under green. We have seen craziness happen before. It's been a hot minute since we've seen overdrive, but here it is. Emily Howe out in front. Brendan McGee, Michael Guest, Sean Peleg, Evan Melanson, your top 5. Lights on the pace car. We're going green at the end of this lap. For everyone tuning in, we're glad you're with us for what should be a very wild 2 laps of racing here in Talladega. Hal, McGee, Guest, Peleg, Melanson, Moyer, Marble, Champeau, Mauricio, Strayer, your top 10. And it's going to get jumbled up from there. Coming to 2 to go. The stakes could not be higher at the front of the field. Michael Guest trying to take over the championship lead well and truly. Jacob Potak down the order in 25th on this restart. Michael Guest in 3rd. Emily Howe, Brendan McGee, 1st and 2nd ahead of him. And a bunch of drivers trying to play spoiler. Important races all around here. We'll see how this plays out. Pace car is in. It's the long wait towards the restart zone. That's the killer. Green flag is out. We're back underway. Last restart of the race. 2 laps. It's all in perspective now. Kirk Marble again trying to work the inside lane. No one went with him again. Whoa, Marble just got hip checked out of the way. And there you go, trouble. Marble hard in the fence. And they're crashing big time back straight away. It's a run to the finish. They're going to race this out. Trouble immediately just on the fringe of the top 10. Coming to the white flag. We're going to have 1 lap to go in Talladega. Emily Howe, Brendan McGee, Michael Guest. Who's it going to be? Peleg, Melanson, Champeau, Strayer, Moyer, Mauricio, Trupiano, all in the mix. Your top 10 is the lead pack. Someone's got to make a move. Emily Howe left for dead. McGee out in front. Emily Howe over unders. Michael Guest there. Michael Guest trying to block. Michael Guest gets turned. Michael Guest turned. They wreck in front. Brennan McGee, Evan Melanson, Sean Peleg will come to the checkered flag. McGee wins in Talladega. Melanson on the podium. Peleg third. Chris Champeau fourth. And Jacob Potak somehow ends up 11th and reasserts himself as the championship leader after that. Oh my goodness. Emily Howe comes home in 27th. Michael Guest 29th. Brendan McGee gets to burn it down as your race winner here in Talladega. They all wrecked behind him in a pretty big way. Brendan McGee, race winner tonight, ahead of Evan Melanson and Sean Peleg. We'll hear from podium finishers in just a moment. A look at your unofficial results here in Talladega. Brendan McGee, Evan Melanson on the podium here. Sean Peleg in third. Chris Champeau, Gabriel Mauricio, top 5. Ahead of Lucas Strayer, Andy Trupiano, Nick Doucette, Tom Wetmore, and Logan Kress, your top 10 here in Alabama. Jacob Potak ends up 11th ahead of Ryan Hill, Larry Pace, Corey Steinhauser, Dylan Roberts. It had a Kyle Benson, Blake Cannon, Craig Lautenschlager, Christian Budd, Eli Sasek, your top 20. Anthony Kroback, Ryan Moyer, Brandon Cruz, Corey Cook, Ken Huff, Zach Tyndall, Emily Howell, Lucas Davila, Brandon Coppinger, and Tom Willett, your top 30 here. Michael Guest. It says Michael Guest officially 31st. Ahead of Tyler Murray, Austin Reedy, Kirk Marble, Hayden Rapaw, Philip Snipes, Parker Alexander, Hizzy Solis Jr., and Dan Breckus. A lot of drivers struggling at the end here. Solis and Breckus did not make it to halfway here in Talladega. A wild run to the finish. And we should not be surprised by how that played out. Let's take a look at what happened. Indiana Spotter Cam is going to help us out a little bit here, because we want to take a look at what happened here. And we'll start with what happened to Kirk Marble. He gets hip checked by Ryan Moyer here. This is from the spotter stand above the grandstands here on the front straightaway. Gets hip checked there by Ryan Moyer. And everyone just checks up. And this is where Corey Cook gets turned. And that's where Lucas Davila also got completely destroyed. And you see he got bounced around. So many cars completely destroyed on the back straightaway there. Austin Reedy, his car completely demolished. But that only gets you to turn 3. It's a little bit more wild here on the lead to the final lap. The white flag in the air. Emily Howe leading as a sitting duck. But from McGee and Michael Guest, who had to do something special to make things happen. It worked out for McGee, not so much for Michael Guest. We'll see why. The top 10 had it made. It was completely made. They get clear here. And we're going to pause it because he comes down and comes right in front of Emily Howe. I'll play this part at quarter speed. Michael Guest trying to block Emily Howe there. Emily Howe goes back to the top side. Support from the 48. Michael Guest, he just tries coming back and blocking. You can block once. That's the general rule of thumb. And they both ate it. Michael Guest trying to be aggressive there instead of taking the solid points advantage over Jacob Potak. Gets demolished on the front straightaway. And it's last lap at Talladega, but it is self-inflicted for Michael Guest. All the progress that he put in to having a good run comes undone in the last 1,000 feet. Trying to block for second when top 10 were on their own away from everybody. All wild stuff there. I think that being said, we do have interviews coming up here. And I think pretty short order. Three cautions tonight. 2 in the last 10 laps to set up a wild restart at the end of the race there. The 48 of Sean Peleg, the 66 of Evan Melanson, and your race winner, Brendan McGee. We'll talk to all three of them here. Outstanding stuff. Absolutely wild. Let's start from the bottom of the podium. Let's start with Sean Peleg here. The 48 camp, a wild race. 12th in points. Needed a good race. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Survived the final couple laps here. Sean, walk us through it. That was a nerve-wracking race at the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does get a little bit better. And even though it's my best result of the season, I can't help but I'm disappointed. I knew this was a chance I had to win. Won here the last 2 years, really wanted to get another one, but just didn't have it at the end. It was so tough once everybody just lined up against the wall. The only chance you had is if they make a move in front of you. Going into three, I didn't want to hang Emily out to dry. And then when they got together out of four, it just kind of left me with nowhere to go but watch Brennan drive off into the sunset. So, I mean, it was a good race. It was nice to run up front, stay out of the trouble, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed.
Obviously, winning the last two seasons here in Talladega, obviously that was high on the cards here for you. That being said, first time the National Series car is being run here in Winstel, different environment compared to the Gen 4 and the car tomorrow that we've seen so often this season. What was the response going into this race with the National Series car? Obviously, everyone was excited for it. 39 cars, a pretty good field. What was it like being in the car and in racing in an actual race environment with this group of drivers in this car?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it was exciting, especially after the test race a few weeks back. It was really exciting to use these cars because a lot of the cars on the sim right now, and especially the Gen 4, it's so stagnant with the old Aero model. Once it gets packed up, there's nothing you can do, or you make it terrible to drive, and the racing is always terrible. So these with the Aero and being able to do something, it it was really exciting. And I seemed, at least from in car, it put on a really good race, a lot more interesting than some of the other cars would have put on. But unfortunately, still the side draft being so much stronger on the right side than the left side leads it to when it comes down to it, nobody wants to leave the wall, and it makes it really, really tough to do anything. But for sure, better than the other cars. Good race with a lot of good drivers. Um, definitely allows you to use a little bit more strategy and actually work your way up.
Despite being third tonight, you obviously gain a lot on the points leader there. Jacob Potak finished 11th here, so a good chunk of change brought back from the early issue, especially Richmond. I think is the one that I think we look at as far as like the race that sort of set the tone for the chase for you in that 48 team. Two races to go. Everything now back a little bit in a more manageable situation. Phoenix in the car tomorrow, and then Atlanta in the Gen 4 to end out the season. What's the vibe going into those last two races? It's still a long shot, but you were 120 points back before. Now you're within 70.
Yeah, that's just got to try to give it my all. Really need to work on qualifying, not touch the wall like I did at Michigan. I should have started fifth at Michigan, but I just barely kissed the wall out of two, and there we are starting 36th. So yeah, just got to work on Q. Really got to be able to start up front so I don't have to deal with the midfield. Phoenix not one of my favorites, but gonna need to find whatever I've got if I want a chance at anything.
Everything's still to play for the 48 crew here with two races to go in the campaign. Not quite getting the three-peat here, but another podium here at Talladega is exactly what the doctor ordered to keep everything rolling in the chase for the Winstel Cup. Before we let you go and obviously let you debrief and get ready for next week's race in Phoenix, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. That 48 car obviously looked great out in front. That Lowe's machine looks good on any car. Doesn't matter what it is. So take it away.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Carmen, for putting these on. It's an awesome thing you do for us. We're able to watch it back, have people watch for us. Really appreciate it. You do a lot of hard work. Thank you to Brennan and the entire admin team at Winstel. Once again, it's been my home on iRacing for the better part of a decade now. So, no better place, no better group of drivers. Yeah, that's about it. Appreciate you.
A phenomenal job for Sean Pellig. Started fifth, ended up in third place here in Talladega. We'll try to add on to that in Phoenix next Sunday. Sean, congratulations.
Thank you. Peace and love, Carmen.
A phenomenal job for the 48. Sean ended up third tonight, started this race in fifth, gained a lot of points on the top of the standings, exactly what he needed to do. He was 12th going into the night. He now sits top 10 in the points with a very manageable level. You talk about a race that was definitely needed for the 66 camp. Evan Melanson, second place here in Talladega. Watch the C's part at the end of the race. Top 10 on that last restart. Ends up second place, trying to be top 35 in points at the end of the season. It's been a struggle at points. This could be the race that seals the deal for the 66 camp. Walk us through your perspective of that race and trying to chip away at it, because that car looked competitive. Started 33rd, but you never spent a lot of time back there.
No, the car was great. Just needed to make sure I kept it clean at the beginning. I don't know if there was a couple wrecks early, but honestly, it was a really good race from in the car. Everybody was pretty calm for the most part until we got through that first set of green flag pit stops. Then the whole race kind of got split up. There was different people on different strategies. Everybody's just trying to keep their wits about them and make it through that kind of slow paced center portion. And then once the cautions fell at the end, it kind of got crazy. And no, I was just able to kind of keep myself in line on the high side and stay behind Sean for quite a while towards the end. And yeah, you said it exactly right. At the end, the seas parted, and I was able to. I wanted to push him, but it's not every day I'm in this position to go try to make a run at Brennan. So I went and took it, and no, I couldn't be happier with second place. It's been a super rough year. Didn't make the show quite a few times at the beginning of the year, and then I had some mechanical issues towards the end. So to come home with seconds, just yeah, little bit of a happy end note to the year for sure.
Obviously, a phenomenal drive for the number 66 camp here. Obviously, as you mentioned, the frustrations have been pretty critical to try to deal with and overcome here. Just looking at how sort of everything played out there going into this race, you were, let me double check here, 43rd in points, a very tight group there. Between you and then obviously Craig Lautenslager, Thomas Lewandowski, who was not here tonight. Very tight margins to work with there. A lot closer to that top 35 margin than what you were going in. Phoenix next week. We've not had to worry about go or go home qualifying. I don't think we'll have to worry about it for Phoenix or Atlanta the last 2 weeks of the season. That being said, it's a lot more manageable to get to that top 35 and lock in for the first few races of next season. How important is it to get ready for Phoenix? That is a racetrack that is going to be difficult. Old Phoenix is not a track that's used in rotation very often. So everyone's got to sort of brush up on their dance moves there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for Old Phoenix. I'm a bit of an old head myself, so the old layout's going to be nice. There's not a lot of time left, but like you said, it's so tight at the back, around the top 35. It'll be tough to make a push, but a couple more runs like this, it could certainly happen still. And if not, then I just got to take it as a positive heading into next year. That I had speed early on in the year, but it was so tough getting in the top 30 like in the qualifying sessions that it just was not that it was too hard. It's just I couldn't get a lap down that was quick enough to put me in the show. And then there was quite a few times I figured if I could have got the car in the field, then I would have been able to finish, get a respectable finish out of it. But it just didn't go my way. So try to take this as momentum heading into Phoenix and Atlanta and get a couple more good runs and then try to carry that into next year.
11th at Daytona, the previous best finish of the campaign for the 66 camp. Evan, now a podium finisher here in the 2007 campaign here at Talladega. Once again, the plate tracks coming good for the 66 crew. Before we let you go and let you focus on Phoenix and Atlanta and getting into that top 35 in the points, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Always fun seeing you on the racetrack here. Didn't get to see the Best Buy paint scheme tonight. We got to see the Phillips 66 paint scheme tonight, but fantastic race car as always, and take it away.
Yeah, no, I just like to say thank you to you especially. It was fun at the beginning of the year. I didn't get to make the races, but the watching experience is incredible. ABM does an awesome job, so thank you very much, Carmen. Obviously Brennan and Bud, they put on a phenomenal show, and all the admins. It's not just Brennan and Bud, but phenomenal show. No, just happy. I've been around Winstel for a long time, so it's nice to finally to get something done on Sunday night.
A phenomenal job for the 66 camp. Evan Melanson ends up second place here in Talladega tonight on his way to the top 35 in points. 2 races to go. Evan, good luck. Congratulations on tonight, and we'll hopefully get to see you again in Phoenix and doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
thanks so much. Thanks so much, Carmen. Take care.
A phenomenal job for the 66 of Evan Melanson. A great job for him in that 66 crew tonight. The man of the hour is Brendan McGee, once again a race winner, this time at Talladega. A wild race, a wild finish, that 9 car in the mix all night long. Brendan, walk us through how that race played out.
Well, I said from the get-go, I was hitting the gas pedal, and I'm going out to try and win the race. Of course, I would say up front tonight, there was probably 10 other drivers that were very capable of winning that race. I know it's Talladega, but it still takes a skill, albeit a different kind of skill, to win the race. And it was a lot of fun out there. That was the first time having the new draft model, of course, and those that kind of knew how to use it definitely were at an advantage tonight. And it was a lot of fun. You seen the lane shuffle back and forth and whatnot. The only time the race kind of got calm was when the fuel mileage was potentially a factor there after that first caution. And then, of course, people realized, oh, I can't save enough fuel, and they started going. So you probably would have had a lot more 3-wide action middle of the race had that yellow not happened there with the fuel mileage event. And then, of course, on the final restart, I was like, love Emily, but I'm like, I got to try and win. I can't sit here. So I watched Guess back way up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with them. And I used that surge of a run to push me past Emily, and Guess followed suit, and then big crash behind me. I think Emily would have been able to get me at the line had she not gotten wrecked. But she did, and of course, that's the way Talladega plays out, and I was the favorite out of that scenario, and I was shaken for a few minutes at the end of the race. I haven't won a Winstel race since last year when we did the 2005 season with the Daytona 500. I have 4 wins now. Every single one of them has been a Superspeedway.
Last Superspeedway of the season, obviously first race with the National Series car in the field. We saw some different strategies in play here. Everyone obviously still defending that side draft on the right side there at the end. That's why everyone was running the upper lane at the end there. That being said, your perspective on this car at Talladega. Everyone said this race is going to be pretty electric. We got to see a little bit of everything tonight. Obviously, the fuel strategy sort of helped make things a little more calm in the mid part of the race. But was the race as expected for the 9 camp tonight, given what we had seen in testing?
Well, I think Evernham might have cheated up this Ford Dodge. For some reason, NASCAR didn't have Dodge bodies for us for this weekend, so we had to take out a Ford and put some Dodge logos on it. My teammate, they had to find a spare Chevrolet, but I think I got the good motor out of the 2 of us, and it definitely paid off. And Evernham made sure we ended up in victory lane tonight. Might be a few extra horsepower under there, I don't know, but I'm not going to ask any questions because I like the result.
A phenomenal job here in Talladega for the 9 crew here tonight. As you mentioned, first win since the Daytona 500, the season opener last season, to get things settled back in. 2 races to go, Phoenix and Atlanta. 2 very interesting races. Phoenix in the car tomorrow. Going to be a wild race. That track not used very often, Old Phoenix. We get to see it next Sunday. And then Old Atlanta is a fan favorite in a car that has handled it so well. We've seen those classic races in the past. What is the approach going in those last 2 races? Obviously, 13th best of the non-chase drivers. How do you keep that position locked up?
Well, I might be screwed because I've watched the incident there with Bud and I, or with whatever it was, 10 to go, and I thought I got turned initially. I went back and looked. It almost looked like there might have been a little bit of a gap, and the car just snapped because I had a car on the left rear, and it just pulled the air off the spoiler. So if I might be starting from the pits a lap down, so that won't be a good way to start Phoenix off, but we'll probably end up having a crash there knowing that track, and hopefully I can get my lap back. And Phoenix isn't one of my favorite personal racetracks. I don't know. It's not bad, but I've just never really been a super fan. I might like it more in the car tomorrow because you can actually rub fenders, all your quarter panels, the bumpers and everything. Has big problem with the past was every car we got there with Legacy Gen 4 or the new one like last year, you can't touch anybody or it's an instant wreck. So with the way iRacing is, of course, you got to be able to make a little bit of contact. It's just there's not much forgiveness in the other two cars at all. Or the COT should make it a bit more of an entertaining race than normal because people kind of like Martinsville won't be afraid to rub up on each other like we've seen with the car tomorrow this year.
It's going to be a different environment there for Phoenix next Sunday right here on ABN. Before we let you go, though, and let you celebrate your race win here, first one of the season, a long time coming for the 9 car. Obviously, you talk about your first race win since Daytona last season. I'd argue that this is probably one of your more complete seasons, all things considered. There are a lot more consistent results for the 9 camp here this go around. If the floor is anyone you shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congratulations on the race win, and hopefully to talk to you again in a similar fashion in one of the next 2 races.
Yeah, to that point, it's definitely been a bit more consistent. I would say I lucked into a top 5 or 2, but so does everybody, I guess. Last week I had a really strong run. That was probably my strongest intermediate run I've ever had. But yeah, it's definitely been a bit more of a consistent season. I was a little concerned with just how powerful the strength of fields are, but I've been able to hold it steady, consistent top 20s, consistent top 20, top 20s, and I almost made the chase, but I just fell out by a few, I think it was 5 or 10 points or something like that. I missed the chase cutoff by, and then seems to be the last few weeks, though, we've definitely turned a corner. Top 10 at Michigan, win here. Our run at Indianapolis wouldn't have been bad if I had turned on 4 tires instead of 2. And that certainly did me in, I can tell you that. But big thank you to everybody, especially Christian Budd, because he didn't do the paint schemes that you saw tonight besides his own, but he does all the other paints that you see on the Gen 4 car, the car tomorrow. So you guys should go check him out on Trading Paints if you want era-accurate vehicles. That's the place to be for probably the best paint schemes on iRacing, I would say. They're great. Big thank you to Emily because she puts in her time every week for making the setups and whatnot. And of course, over the years, we've had to learn things, redo things. It's just the way it goes. And big thank you to the admins, of course, because if without them, we'd really be screwed. And of course, big thank you to the drivers for showing up every week and making this really fun. Because I'd say, honestly, this year has probably been our most, not the last year, the last couple of years have been bad at all. But I feel like this has been our most solid group we've had this year. Everyone's just pretty respectful, and the racing's been really good every week. I think we might have only had one actual bad race this year, I think, which is pretty good. Even Bristol was fun. Like, what the heck? But yeah, of course, big thank you to you. With the throwback broadcasts, they're really fun to go back and watch and everything. It's definitely been a good season overall. And I can't believe there's only 2 weeks left. It feels weird ending the season in August, but at the same time, it feels good because I'll say as the league owner, or I should say co-league owner, because Bud and I both at the head at this point, it's definitely a lot of pressure and stress sometimes. So when we get off weeks and off months, it's nice to just relax. And I think that'll be good going into the holidays this year.
Absolutely. 20 races this campaign, 21 next season for the 2008 season coming up next year. That being said, Brendan gets to enjoy the last 2 races as a race winner. The winless streak has been broken here in Talladega. Brendan, congratulations on the race win here in Talladega, and hopefully get to talk to you again before the season rounds out here in a couple weeks.
Hopefully I'll find my way in victory lane to the Superspeedway again next year.
Absolutely a phenomenal job for Brendan McGee, race winner here in Talladega. Once again in victory lane, he conquers the demon here in Alabama. Brendan, congratulations. A phenomenal drive for the entire field for the most part tonight. It got wild there at the end. One thing I did want to sort of take a look at here, Jacob Potak from 25th to 11th at the end of the race. He was in the middle of all of it here tonight. And you want to talk about moves of the race. Typically it goes to someone like Brennan, someone like Evan, someone like Sean for getting to the podium on the last lap, but we're going to make an exception here, and we're going to say that the move of the race is going to actually be a series of moves for Jacob Potak here, because it was, when I saw him in 11th, I was not sure. It never made sense to me how Jacob Potak ended up out in front. So just right on board here. This is the restart, the last restart. You're going to see everything. Insanity. Right there, that gets him to 15. 25th to 15th, avoiding that melee. I'll see a lot coming up here with the crash out of turn 4. So we'll see more of that as well. Just like that 11th place. Pretty solid job, all things considered. A wild run to the finish, and it was a lot of fun to see tonight. Brendan McGee in victory lane, Evan Melanson a second place, Sean Pellig in third, just what the doctor ordered. Jacob Potak now points leader going into Phoenix next Sunday. That'll do it from us here for Winstel on ABN. Come back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for the HTL Cup Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. We get closer and closer to the start of the HTL Cup Series playoffs on Monday nights. We hope to see you there for all of it. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel and all of his partners, everyone here at ABN Studios and all of our partners, Henderson Graphics, Advanced, I'm Carmen Sienna. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow night in Miami. Until then, so long, everybody from Talladega.